Peace and greetings. What's good? It's your girl Naya from the Metaphysical Mommy here, and I am going to be talking about Elemental Dignities. I'm not going to go too much into the history of it. I'm just going to go straight into how I apply it. You can reference Book T, you could reference Liberty, you could reference the Book of Thoth. They all talk about, even I think Paul Foster Case's the Oracle Tarot, I think that's the name of it, reference this technique, Elemental Dignities. Basically, the way that they have it written is air and earth weaken each other or have animosity towards each other. Fire and water have animosity towards each other. And the way that I see the suits is that wands are fire, swords are air, pentacles are earth, and cups are water. So now we know who weakens each other, right? Now, the other way that I like to think about it too is that the two passives work well together and they're friendly. They amp each other up. That's water and earth. And those are the two passives, and then the two actives, swords and wands, they amp each other up. And you know, when you think about it, wands can hit people and swords can cut people. And so if you were going on to some kind of war or something, like, you would want them to back you up. You would want wands to back you up if you had swords, or vice versa. If you're more on the receiving, you know, holding space, water holds space, earth holds space. Earth needs water in order to grow trees and things like that, plants or whatever, flowers. So that's kind of how I keep it in my head in order to remember the balance of this. Fire and water are opposites, right? If there's too much fire, you know, it'll make water dissipate, and if there's too much water, it'll put out a fire. So they weaken each other. And then air and earth weaken each other. And I guess the only way I could really think about that is like earthquakes, like just air pockets, or like what are those holes in the ground that sometimes happen? But basically, if there's a hole in the ground that's not good, that's weakening the structure of the earth, and whatnot. So I just kind of, it's easy for me to remember fire, water being opposites and weakening each other. That leaves only air and earth to weaken each other and be opposites. So the way I apply this in practice is to use a 3-card spread. Any 3-card spread. If somebody is looking for an interpretation to a reading, and it's 3 cards and they say there's no positions, that just means that they didn't actually say that card 1 means situation, card 2 means the block or the challenge of the situation, and card 3 means the solution or whatever. They just laid out 3 cards. You could read it like a story or what have you. I tend to apply Elemental Dignities to weigh which card is the most well dignified, which one is ill dignified. And now I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. So I'm using the albino weight because they're kind of color coded, and that helps to visually see the differences here. Okay. So, oh my gosh. All right. Don't even worry about the cards that you're looking at for interpretation purposes. Start with the energies of the elements first. Right here we see that there's 2 fire cards, there's 2 wands, 1 cup. What does that mean? That there's more fire in this situation, more active energy in this situation than there is emotions. The emotions might be getting drowned out. So therefore, in this spread, the cups card would be ill dignified, and the wands would be a little bit more well dignified because they have each other to support each other. Does that make sense? And also keeping in mind that fire and water weaken each other. So there's that to keep in mind in this case. So even before we know what the situation is, whatever, just by looking at the energies of the cards, we're able to discern something from that. And we know, like, even though if you're familiar with your interpretation of the cards, that the Nine of Cups is like, oh, it's the Nine of Cups, this is such a good card, this is like the get your wishes kind of card and all this kind of stuff. If you're applying Elemental Dignities, you're automatically seeing that, okay, you might get your wishes, but maybe they don't come as, maybe they'll come faster than you expect because there's a lot of fire energy. So it helps you to weigh the difference between the cards. So here in this one we have 2 earth, 1 air. So we know that in this particular situation that the air card or the swords card is ill dignified. It's not the strongest here. So, there's a lot more things being done, more practicality happening. It could also be a slow time of growth from a past hurt. So, without first jumping into the interpretation of the cards that you see, you first tap into those elemental energies that you see. So that's kind of where or how I apply it. Now, when it comes to the court cards, are the same. They go with whatever suit that they have. Like King of Wands would be fire. When it comes to the major cards, you can discern for yourself how you want to apply the energies. But like the Moon, I automatically think water. High Priestess, I think water. Hierophant represents Taurus, and Taurus is an earth sign. So this for me would represent earth. Hangman is elementally a water sign. It's the alchemical water sign. So this would be water. So when it comes, I guess, to elemental dignities, knowing your major cards and what the planets represent elementally wise and the zodiac signs represent elementally wise, that's going to help you more. And of course, in a reading like that, majors are still going to hold more weight than the minors. So, that helps with the balancing of things. Because there was like this one question that I saw a while back that they had some good cards and then they had the devil card and someone was like, oh my god, don't go out with them. They were like, freaking out or whatever. But then I applied elemental dignities and I said, I just remember saying, like, you guys are probably just gonna have fun and it'll just be a night of like sexual exploration or whatever, like having a mature fun time, and that's it. Of course, be careful. But the other card suggested that it was gonna be a fun night, and it actually weakened like the severity of like when people see that devil card about attachment and this and that, and all those crippling things that they say about the devil card. And it was really about more go out and have fun and enjoy yourself. And that's how I was able to discern without any reversals, how much weight did that card hold. And it didn't really hold as much weight, so it just lessened that. It takes a little bit of practice to really get it. Hermit is Virgo, which is an earth sign. The World is I say is an earth sign. It represents Saturn. Saturn alchemically is related to lead, which is heavy, so I say earth. Judgment is alchemical fire. And my battery on my phone is getting ready to die, but I really wanted to get this video recorded for you to try and help you out. And then the Sun is fire. The Sun represents the sun, but the sun is like fire. Legitimately, it's fire. Magician is Mercury, which is tends to, I don't know, I think Mercury, I think Gemini, I think air. I mean, that's just how my brain rolls with it. Yours might go a different way, but that's how mine goes. Emperor, Aries, fire. Tower, Mars, fire. So star, Aquarius, air. Temperance, Sagittarius, fire. Strength, Leo, fire. So that's kind of, you know, how. Jupiter rules Sag, that's fire. Traditionally, it also rules Pisces, but it's up in the air, so I say fire. That might not be right, but that's how it works for me. And so, you know, I tried to make sure that what I have is pretty much balanced and whatnot. So I hope that kind of helps you. You know, try to apply the elements first before interpreting the cards. You know, if you sat down with something like some gems or something, like here I have 2 water and 1 earth. Well, earth and water get along. They're friendly, they amplify each other up. So whatever's happening in here might be a little bit slow going, but it's actually, there's still progress happening, right? And it's a little bit more on the receptive side. I'm trying to like show them all, but I can't. It's more on the receptive side because of the natural energies of the water and the earth. But whatever's happening, it's blooming. Take your time, have more patience. So just based off of the, like, using the colors to like springboard, here we have that there's a lot of more feelings happening than practicality happening, but there is practicality present. Now, what's lacking? Lacking is air. Air is communication. There could also be passion lacking as well, because fire is not in the spread. So then you can start applying what's also missing. So you talk about what's there, then you talk about what's not there, and that's what's lacking in the situation. So no matter the question, no matter what's going on, applying elemental dignities doesn't distinguish, and it doesn't it kind of helps me to detach myself from getting too involved in the situation by just simply saying these are the energies that are present, and then interpret the cards. And it really helps me to like not like try to tap so much in on an intuitive level, so much so that I'm like trying to tap into the person, if that makes sense. Like their energy is already present because they're having the reading. I don't need to like physically attach myself when I need to be reading the cards. And that's everything in the cards, from the elements that are present to the numbers that are present to the interpretation of the cards that are present. It's just kind of in the order that you do it and what you're looking at first and what you're pulling out of the cards first. So it's a technique, and it, you know, you need to practice it in order for it to feel a little bit more natural. And for me, I felt like it was easy to do because it's like seeing the big picture first and then honing into the smaller, minute details that you see on the images of the cards, the body language and this and that. And so it's like seeing that it's talking about the big picture and then honing into the small minute stuff, and then you can also end with that big picture again, just to like summarize it. So I hope that this helps you, and I feel like I was talking a mile a minute. So if you do have any questions, I can do more practice sessions or more practice videos talking about it, going into more of maybe what you feel is still unclear. So I really do hope that this helps. Much love, many blessings. Bye.